At the beginning of the year, I said something on this platform that in 2020, key political figures will make very difficult political choices. And today, the allies of the deputy president called a press conference. And in that press conference, they announced that beginning Saturday, they will be attending the building bridges rallies across the country. Remember, just as late as yesterday, they were calling these building bridges initiative rallies as ODM rallies. Is it possible that the deputy president and his allies have been subdued, and that's why they are now joining the team? Or is it just a tactical retreat? That's the question which most Kenyans are currently asking.
For these reasons, we have today met and resolved as follows. 1, that we shall participate and contribute towards the success of the already organized BBI rallies across the country, beginning with Mombasa this weekend. So we are saying, see you in Mombasa on Saturday.
Are they surrendering, or is it a tactical retreat? So today I want us to look at the possible reasons why the allies of the deputy president will now be joining the Building Bridges initiative. But before we do that, if you're bumping on this video for the first time, I want you to just take 2 seconds and hit the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, you get notified. Now back to the main issue. The allies of the deputy president today released a press statement. I'm just looking for it here. And in that press statement, they resolve to do 7 things. I'm not going to read all of them, but one of the things they said, number 1, is that we shall participate and contribute towards the success of the already organized BBI rallies across the country, beginning with Mombasa this week. That's number 1. Number 2, they are saying that to support existing efforts and complement the already scheduled rallies, we are organizing rallies in other parts of the country. Basically what they are saying, they are going to organize parallel rallies. Number 3, they are saying we fully support the BBI report as launched and intend to fully participate in related engagements in good faith. But there's something they said here, number 4, which is important. They're saying that we shall mobilize our constituents to present their views in all 290 constituencies. Those who follow this channel, there's a video I made yesterday. And in that video, I claimed that the president and Raila Odinga changed their strategy and they'll be using the governors instead of the members of parliament. What these guys are now trying to do is that they want to use MPs instead of governors. That's why they're talking of 290 constituencies. That's why they're talking of 290 constituencies. So there's already a conflict there. There was another conflict I observed. Number 5, they're talking of issues to do with that we believe that our participation in these rallies, we shall redirect the BBI conversation to people-centric issues such as economy, unemployment, social justice, rule of law, human rights, etc. At the moment, the discussions is centered on pursuit of political power and positions by the leaders. That's something which is also very telling, but we are not going to go into that. In fact, I'll make a video dissecting each and every point they listed here. I think I should do that tomorrow. Then they was talking of, we are concerned with the reports of existence of a clandestine BBI steering committee with an underground draft report and bill. So they are suspecting that there could be another bill and draft. And that's what most Kenyans have been suspecting. But why are they making they about turn all of a sudden. Because as a matter of fact, at the Bomas of Kenya, Team Tangatanga announced clearly that they were supporting the initiative. Then all of a sudden, when the Building Bridges initiative began, they changed the narrative. And let me just take you a bit through real politics. And I know you must have been wondering. And now I'm actually understanding why that happened. Personally, I was asking myself, if President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga are honest with this Building Bridges initiative, why go to Kisii, then go to Western, then go to Mombasa? Because all those three are NASA strongholds. Then from there is when they were now going to Embu. Then I think Garissa, then Eldoret. The Eldoret one has now been shifted to Nakuru, I think. So I was asking myself, why were they doing that? I'm now getting the clear picture. The reason behind that was that there was a plan by Team Tangatanga to portray a different image. That's why when these guys went to Kisii, the allies of the DP in Kisii never attended that event. And they started the narrative that this Building Bridges initiative is divisive. Then when it went to Kakamega, then something also happened. Because they could not disrupt the Kisii event, they tried to disrupt the Kakamega event by organizing a parallel event. But that was also thwarted. But the narrative they were trying to advance was that this Building Bridges initiative was becoming divisive. And if Mudavadi and Wetangula had failed to attend that Building Bridges initiative, that narrative would have been easily advanced. Then the next stage was now Mombasa. So with the success of the two events, the guys realized that there's nothing they could do to stop the Building Bridges initiative. The narrative that is divisive was not going to arise. And that's why they are now opting to join Mombasa. But why are they opting at this time? In my view, I've thought about it. I'm looking at around 7 reasons. And the first reason is probably it's a strategic move by the team. And I just want to, I like quoting the 48 laws of power. I just want to refer to the law number 22, I think. It should be 22. Law number 22 of the 48 laws of power states clearly, they use the surrender tactics, transform weakness into power. So when you are subdued, when you are defeated, the only option is to surrender. And that's exactly what happened. If you watched that interview, I basically took the picture you are seeing on the screen when I was watching that interview. And I saw the faces of those guys. They looked defeated. They looked subdued. So the use of surrender as a tactic is going to help them. So the law, Robert Greene is saying, never fight just for honor's sake when you know you'll be beaten. You should avoid any instance where you fight just for the sake of fighting. You should only engage in fights when you are sure of victory, but not for honor. Then it gives your enemy the satisfaction of winning outright, and it will make you weaker. Surrender instead. Take time to recover, to wait for his power to decrease, and attack at your right time. So basically, the surrender tactics is also very effective. Because when you surrender, the enemy, like today if you go online, Team Keleweke are celebrating. So they'll celebrate, but while they're doing that, you regroup. And I think that's the strategy of these guys. They want to go to Mombasa, and in Mombasa they want to try what Mudavadi did. Then from Mombasa, this thing will go to Embu. Embu is Jubilee stronghold. William Ruto probably is the king there. So they'll go to Embu, then they'll go with the crowd. Then they can pick from there. So that's number one. Number two, I think the deputy president was isolated. And there was nothing he could do. In Kisii, he was absent. None of his supporters were present. In Kakamega, the DP was absent. None of his supporter was absent. As a matter of fact, in Kakamega, some of his supporters joined the train. And this is what was going to happen throughout. And because he was feeling isolated, the best strategy for him was to pull out, to withdraw. And that's exactly what the deputy president has done and his allies. Number three, I think these guys want to run parallel, they want to organize parallel meetings. And the only way they can do that, because the only option was if these guys, if Raila and the team are going around with the BBI rallies across the country, for them organizing other rallies would basically mean opposing the BBI rallies, but they don't want that. But they want to organize parallel rallies where they're going to tell people what is sweet for them. For example, they'll go to let's say they'll go to Kiambu and tell the people of Kiambu about coffee, about any other thing. Not basically what is in the content of the Building Bridges initiative. So for them to do those rallies peacefully, they have to hide behind this supporting the Building Bridges initiative. They'll go to Mombasa. Then as people will be going to Kiambu, or as people will be going to Embu, then they can choose to go to other place and advance their own narrative there. Number four, which I think is also something which these guys are doing, they want to take away the Building Bridges initiative from Raila Odinga, that limelight. What normally happens in those rallies, in Kisii, everybody was speaking, calling Raila Odinga His Excellency, or blah blah. They went to Kakamega, it was the same. Assuming they went to Mombasa, will it be the same? Will Raila Odinga continue taking the lead in this thing? So basically they want to take that limelight from Raila Odinga, because Raila Odinga is running away with the Building Bridges initiative with the help of President Uhuru Kenyatta. And the deputy president is now coming out as someone who is opposing it. So to reduce the influence of Raila Odinga on the Building Bridges initiative, basically what they are doing, they want to join. And by joining it, if they go to Jubilee Stronghold, then Raila Odinga will not be the main guy in those rallies. Number five, they want to protect their territories. That was expected. And I want you to be very keen. From Kisii, these guys went to Kakamega. In Kakamega, the event was successful, and we saw people who are supporting the deputy president joining in. Basically, 2 MPs joined in. Then they are now going to Mombasa. And in Mombasa, the same thing was going to happen. And then from Mombasa, they were going to go to Embu, which is their stronghold. Assuming they are not part of it. The train will still continue. These guys will go to Embu. They'll organize, they'll use the county commissioners, they'll use the governors who are willing to mobilize, they'll use the few MPs who are willing to mobilize, and then the event will be a success, because raising 2,000 people to attend an event in Embu will not be a problem. Then from there, they'll go to, for example, Eldoret. They'll do the same. So perceptionally, Kenyans will believe that there was a successful engagement in the Building Bridges initiative, including their own strongholds. So they don't want that to happen. Number 6, I think they don't want direct engagement or attacks with the president. William Ruto's strategy has always been very clear. Even if the president and his allies are stepping on my toe, I'm going to persevere. But I'm going to make one man my subject, Raila Odinga. But unfortunately for them, the president is seemingly with the Raila Odinga. And because the president is with the Raila Odinga, they don't want now to fight Raila Odinga, because there's no way, at this stage, there is no way you can separate Raila Odinga from President Uhuru Kenyatta on this building bridges initiative. They've tried all the tactics and it has refused. It has completely refused. So the best thing for them is to assume or to pretend to be joining. Then from there, probably the president will start talking to them. But I have an advice for them. There is no way the president of the Republic of Kenya and Raila Odinga are going to believe them. Because even at that press conference, who are there? Susan Kihika, Osoro. I mean, all these guys who have been attacking the president. So they will not be given space. Number 7, I think I mentioned this. They want to avoid campaigns, early campaigns, direct campaigns, that is. And I told you guys, the main reason why Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta are pushing this building bridges initiative to the people is that they fear the parliament. The DP will control, like what's happening in at the Senate now. Then apart from that, they wanted to run down these guys through a referendum. Referendum is very expensive to run. Because if the DP was going to oppose this thing, then the only way he was going to do it is by sponsoring. Maybe other groups, like if he can find religious group opposed to an element, he could find youth groups opposed to an element, things like those, civil society. Then it will mean he will have to sponsor those people, using money to organize rallies, to organize meetings, to oppose the Building Bridges initiative. And if he had tried that, that's basically what these guys wanted, so that he could be pushed to the corner. And lastly, I think these guys also fear that the state could be funding the Building Bridges initiative. And that's why they were very clear that for them, their initiative, they were going to support it using personal contributions. And I was asking myself, which personal contributions? If these guys have been going around the country campaigning for 2 years now, and all those times, the money they've been using is from the deputy president. In fact, some of them are paid by the DP to attend those rallies. Because I've been I understand how these guys operate. Some of them are my friends. They're always given money to attend the rallies. So how can they now support using their own personal resources an initiative as big as the Building Bridges initiative? So in my view, those are the reasons why they are making about turn. I don't know what you think. Probably you might be having a different idea. And if you have a different idea, the best thing you can do is to drop it down here so that I can read it. And if you're bumping on this video for the first time, I want to ask you just to take a second and hit the subscribe button so that next time you produce a video like this, you get notified. And to the subscribers, I want to continue. Thank you guys for your continued support. Bye-bye.